All right. Good morning, folks. Those that are in the room, those that may be listening to the live stream, or those that might be reviewing the audio at a later date. We apologize. Apparently, the video portion of the streaming is not working today. This is our regular DOCC meeting for October 9th. Before we call the roll, I'd like to invite Pastor Farthing from the Elbert Church up to provide us an invocation and lead us in the pledge.
Let's pray. Father in heaven, we come to you today thankful to live here. Of all the places that Providence could have placed us, you have placed us here at this moment. Father, we enjoy the greatest freedoms that possibly any nation's ever experienced. We enjoy the greatest standards of living. We enjoy so much. Forgive us when we are ungrateful. Lord, we ask your blessing on this meeting this morning. We ask your blessing on this county. We ask you to give our leaders wisdom. Give them a compassion for the needs of our people. Especially, Father, our hearts go out to those on the East Coast and Florida, the surrounding states that have been hit by these storms. Even now, during some difficult weather and the destruction of their lives, we know that you alone can provide peace that passes understanding. And that is what we need for these folks that are enduring such hardships right now. Father, we pray to you, we ask all of these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. It is 9:07. Emily, could you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Mayer,
Here.
Commissioner Richardson,
Here.
Commissioner Schroeder,
Here.
Okay. We have a quorum. First item of business we have is approval of the agenda. I'm not aware of any changes, so I would accept the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. The agenda is adopted. First item of business we have are items on consent. I would accept the motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the items on consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the items on consent. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Alrighty. Elected official department heads and staff reports. Prior to moving to our normal reporting, I'd like to introduce the folks in the back of the room that are here to recognize or help us recognize National 4-H Week. So, Kelly, if you could.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kelly Benson, Elbert County Extension Director. This week is National 4-H Week, and we're so excited and thrilled to have some of our outstanding 4-H youth come and address you this morning and really talk about all the life skills and learning that they are doing through this 4-H program that you all support. This year's theme is Beyond Ready, and we're really taking that to heart in terms of being more than an action item, but as a mindset for these positive youth leaders that we have in our county to be beyond ready to address anything that comes up in their future, whether it's their day-to-day activities with their schools and their sports and their 4-H programs, or anything that comes up in their future lives as well in terms of their career, education, and what they really want to accomplish in their lives. So with that, I'd like to first bring up Ms. Caitlin Good, and she'd like to address you all.
Good morning, Caitlin.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Caitlin Good, Sun Country 4-H. I am very, very excited to talk to you about my beloved 4-H program. 4-H was first established over 200 years ago. At some point during those years, it made its way to Elbert County, where it has become a hub for talented youth to learn new skills and grow into confident, successful individuals. Through 4-H, I've learned things like parliamentary procedure, the skeletal anatomy of a horse, and how to shoot competitive archery. I've met volunteers who inspire me to get out of my comfort zone and try new things, who, might I add, are there of their own free will. Peers who have reached the limits of what others have thought possible, excelling in the activities that they participate in. Along with various projects like knitting, shooting sports, and photography, 4-H also offers camps where we can meet members from around the state and learn more about bringing creativity and positivity into our clubs and counties. My favorite has to be state conference, where I get to stay at CSU for Fort Collins for a week in June, explore some of the inner workings of the college, and learn about its majors, learning about paths into new careers. While competing in various competitions like horse judging, horse bowl, public speaking, everyone today that will speak here today will have a different story about how they joined 4-H and how it affected them. And that's the beauty of it. 4-H is so vast in all the opportunities and experience it creates. It creates new career opportunities and new skills to learn and further their life. And it's really a great thing that we have here. Thank you all for listening to me today. To close, I hope that the youth of Elbert County can continue to join 4-H for a long, long time. I'd like to invite Eden Swan up to speak next. Thank you so much.
Alright, the name of my essay is Kindness Spreads Like Wildfire. Kindness is like a game of telephone. Once kindness is shown to one person, that person shows it to the next person, and that person shows it to the next, and so on. Kindness is also like wildfire. Once it starts in one place, it spreads to the next person, and it keeps multiplying, even though some people or things might try to put it out. A friend of mine showed me kindness by befriending me at church when I was new, and that led me to wanting to share kindness with others. One example of how I used my 4-H heart towards others is every year at the February 4-H meeting of our club, all the club members made lovely Valentine cards for children in the Denver Children's Hospital. These kids are struggling with hard times, and I think our cards could make a big difference in their day. It lets them know that we are thinking about them. My club also made dog toys out of some thin, colorful ropes woven together and attached tennis balls to the ends. These toys were given to dogs in dog shelters who might not have anything to play with, or maybe were feeling sad that they didn't have families to care for them. I'll bet those dogs love the toys that were made for them. My club also did a Dairy Queen fundraiser, where we held signs and gave out $1 ice cream cake raffle tickets at the drive-thru. By helping at this fundraiser, we raised money for our club that we used to pay things like candy to throw at the fair parade and to help pay for the belt buckle for one of our members who won archery at state. Now, to conclude my essay, I'd like to tell you to never stop spreading kindness we all have inside us, like wildfire. For this coming year, I am going to suggest that my club do a tour drive to children in hospitals. I think that this will show them comfort during their hard times and will remind them that people care about them and will be there for them. I hope that other kids in other 4-H clubs will also do many things to help our community, our country, and our world. Thank you. Now I'd like to call up Ms. Leah Blake.
Personally, I have to say that was the cutest thing I've seen all week. So good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Leah LeVay. I'm 13 years old and have been in 4-H for about 5 years, I think. I've done in past years, I've done the Market Chickens project, the Horse project, and the Upcycle Your Style project. This past year, I did Market Goats, the Dog project, air rifle and pistol, and what else did I? I'm sorry. And the Market Goat project. 4-H has taught me so much, including public speaking and hard work. I have learned how to put in effort even when I'm tired, and taking care of goats has definitely proved that. Also, in the air gun project, I won Grand Champion for air pistol this year, and I know I couldn't have done it without all the amazing people in my life. I wouldn't have half the people skills I do without 4-H, and I'm very grateful. I enjoy all of my projects, and my gratitude for 4-H cannot be expressed. I would now like to invite up my sister, Cora LeVay. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Cora LeVay, and this is my 8th year in 4-H. I'm the parliamentarian of the Running Creek 4-H Club, and I have been in the projects Air Rifle, Air Pistol, the Horse Project, Sewing, Market Turkeys, Show Chickens, and Market Lambs. My favorite is Air Rifle. I started that 8 years ago, and I've been going to the state fair for all 8 years. This past year, air Rifle and Air Pistol in Elbert County won 9 out of 10 of the events. I started doing shooting sports because my dad wanted me to, and then I learned that I loved it, and my coaches and my dad, who's also one of my coaches, led me to go to the Olympic Training Center. So I train there now, and 4-H has taught me about hard work and being successful through specifically shooting sports, and I've learned people skills and just presenting myself well. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Annabelle, would you like to come up and present?
Hello, my name is Annabelle Swan. I've been in 4-H for 4 years now, and I'm 12 years old. My essay is titled The Importance of the 4-H Heart. 4-H is all about head, heart, hands, and health. For some of these things, it's evident to see how they play into 4-H. It's pretty obvious to see that you need your head for clearer thinking, to do projects well, and to be officers well, whether for your club or your state. It's also clear to see how you need your hands to do 4-H and to help your community, and you need to be healthy to do many things in 4-H as well. It's really clear and obvious to see how you would need these things in order to do 4-H well. But what about the heart? How does that come into shooting sports, cake decorating, leather crafting, and raising market animals? Well, the heart part of 4-H may not apply to these projects specifically, but it is definitely a big part of 4-H. In this speech, I will cover 3 main points about the heart in 4-H. First, why it's so important. Second, how I have used that concept of the heart to help others and spread kindness. And lastly, how others have shown that same kindness to me. First, why is the heart so important to 4-H? When most people think of 4-H, they probably think of grubby hands, getting dirty, and raising lots of different kinds of animals. But 4-H is actually a lot more than that. Kindness can be seen everywhere as people work on community service projects with their fellow 4-H members and work to make the world a little better, a little cleaner, and brighter, especially for those who are in hospitals or have disabilities. People can make a giant impact on the world, one person at a time, and it starts with kindness. That's why the heart is such a big part of 4-H. Next, I'm going to give you examples of how I and others in my club have spread and inspired kindness. A few big ones are when we all got together in our club and worked together to make Valentine's Day cards for children in hospitals, make dog toys for homeless dogs in shelters, and picked up trash in an arena after a rodeo. These things things may seem little, but they can make huge differences. And it's not just in my 4-H club. Everywhere I go, I see people helping one another and spreading kindness and Jesus' love. At the county fair, for example, I made a friend named Katrina, and I helped her and her mom out by keeping her large market chickens under control and helping her entertain her 3 younger siblings for a while before the market sale. And it's not just me who's been kind to others at the county fair. Lots of people showed that same kindness to me and my sisters, which brings me to my 3rd point, how other people have shown me kindness. At the fair, my sisters and I combined had 4 show chickens and 4 pens of market chickens, and soon our food supplies for them were getting low. When our friend the Brons heard this, they generously gave my sisters and I food for our chickens. When the food got low yet again, this time my friend Katie helped out by lending us some food. These are just a few examples of how others have shown kindness to me and my sisters throughout the fair. In conclusion, in this essay I made 3 points. 1, why the heart and showing kindness are an important part of 4-H, even though they may not seem like it. 2, how I and others in my club have shown kindness to others. And 3, how others have shown kindness to me. By the end of this essay, I hope you will agree with me that the heart is a big part of 4-H. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again for giving us time to have all of our 4-Hers come up and address you all. On behalf of myself and our staff in the Extension Office, Ms. Lori Denson and Ms. Lynn Allen, we're just so grateful for all the support and enthusiastic support, not only from this community, but especially from this board, to help us continue to make impacts in these young leaders' lives as well as their families' lives from day to day. And it's so hugely important. All these 4-Hers that got up here today wanted to speak to you in terms of what has impacted them through this program, as well as also the essays. I was super excited the girls read was a part of our Lemke Scholarship this year. So every year in terms of their application, they have to write a short essay on one of the different portions of head, heart, hands, or health. So thank you again to these kids. Let's give them another round of applause.
While you're all here, we do have a proclamation prepared to recognize 4-H Week, and would love to get everybody up to get a photo afterwards. But without objection, we'll publish this today. And it reads, recognition of annual National 4-H Week, October 6th to the 12th of 2024. Whereas 4-H is America's largest youth development organization, having supported almost 6 million youth across the country thus far. And whereas 4-H has helped youth in Elbert County, Colorado become more confident, independent, resilient, and compassionate leaders. And whereas 4-H is delivered by Cooperative Extension, a community of more than 100 public universities across the nation that provides experiences where young people learn by doing hands-on projects in areas including health, science, agriculture, and citizenship. And whereas National 4-H Week showcases the incredible experience that 4-H offers young people and highlights the remarkable 4-H youth in Elbert County who work each day to make a positive impact on those around them. And whereas 4-H's national network of 600,000 volunteers and 3,500 professionals provides caring and supportive mentoring for all 4-Hers, helping them to grow into true leaders, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. And whereas Elbert County and CSU Extension encourage all our citizens to recognize 4-H for the significant impact it has made and continues to make by empowering youth with the skills they need to lead for a lifetime. Therefore, be it proclaimed by the Elbert County Board of County Commissioners that we do hereby officially recognize and designate October 6th to the 12th as National 4-H Week in Elbert County, and sincerely thank all Elbert County participants for their contribution. This is always one of the best meetings of the year. Gives you hope for the future, if nothing else. You kids should be proud of your accomplishments. At your age, I definitely wouldn't be speaking in public and have so many just wonderful things to say. I think there's a lot of lessons to be taken from what we heard today. When we have certainly one grand champion in the room. All of you are champions. Your discussions of kindness actually resonate very deeply. The fact that there's somebody here that can control chickens is amazing. So I do want to thank you for coming out today. I absolutely want to extend a thank you to the parents. As a former 4-H parent, I know how much effort and time it takes to support kids in their projects. Putting that time in, it's just good parenting, and I'm glad we can provide a great 4-H program here. Callie, you and your staff provide a great 4-H program. We focus on a lot of things. Certainly our county is well protected. As we see the folks coming through our shooting sports program, nobody's going to mess with Elbert County. With that, I'll pass it on to.
Yeah, at my age, I worry about the future. After what I heard today, I am not worried anymore. It looks to me like there's great intelligence, great dedication, and that is all good for us. Thank you.
I'll just echo what's been said. Certainly appreciate this meeting. It's always a highlight of the calendar year for the 4-H kids to come. And they always do a terrific job in their presentations, which I think is a credit to them, but also to their volunteer sponsors and our staff in Cali and putting the program together. The way that they speak publicly, we hear a lot of different people that speak to us, but these kids are better than a lot of them, and so you guys should feel very proud of their abilities. It's something that will serve you well throughout your life. Being able to speak in front of somebody or a group of people is very important, and so keep at it and did a great job. It's always a highlight. Thank you.
So one more round of applause, and then if we could have the kids. And wants to get some photos for the ranch land.
You can all scooch in. Intermix. Some of you are. There you go. Act like you like each other. Thank you, Commissioners.
We do have one more proclamation today, but it looks like the presenter is not here yet, so we'll move on to any staff or elected official presentations we have today. Do I have anything from elected officials? Sure.
Good morning, everyone. Sherry Hewlett, the Elbert County Treasurer and Public Trustee. I just publicly wanted to announce our tax lien sale for this year will be November 19th. Registration will be at 8, and the sale starts promptly at 9 in this room. Registration forms, we encourage you to pre-register if you can. It saves us time in the morning when we're trying to get ready for the sale. All of those forms and information are on my website currently, along with the delinquent list. The delinquent list will advertise for the first time this week on Thursday, and then 2 more weeks after that. So currently, if we had the sale today, we'd have 268 properties go to sale. Last year we sold 161. So Anyway, I just wanted the public to know that that's all, we're gearing up for that, and if you have any questions, please give us a call.
Thank you, Sherry. Wanda?
Good morning, Commissioners. Rhonda Braun, Clerk and Recorder. Just wanted to report that we again had a successful logic and accuracy test of our equipment. Ballots will be mailed out Friday, the 11th. Just want everybody to keep in mind that Monday is Columbus Day. It's a holiday. So all the people that want to call us on Monday and say they haven't gotten their ballots, probably wait a day or so. But we're gonna rock and roll.
Heidi, thank you. Tim, did you have anything? Aaron?
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm happy I came this morning because that just made me feel really good with all these young folks. I grew up in rural communities myself, doing radio and all that, so it feels good to see that that's still going. But yeah, just wanted to provide some updates. Good morning, Board of County Commissioners and fellow citizens of Elbert County. I'm honored to be here today to provide several important updates from the Office of Emergency Management. These developments directly enhance the safety, preparedness, and resilience of our community, which is at the heart of our mission. First, I'm pleased to report a significant milestone we achieved today, October 9th at 9 a.m.-ish. We successfully conducted a test of our Code Red mass notification system. So if you got a phone call today, that's what it was. The purpose of this test is to assess the readiness and effectiveness of our alert warning system, which is a critical component of our emergency management strategy. In times of crisis, whether it be a natural disaster, hazardous materials spill, or other public emergencies, having the capability to quickly and efficiently notify every resident of our county with accurate, life-saving information is absolutely essential. If you are not signed up to receive these alerts, please do so by visiting the Elbert County Office of Emergency Management webpage with the link Code Red on one of the tabs. These messages ensure that our system is fully operational, reliable, and that no gaps exist in our ability to reach the public. Moving forward, we'll be conducting an annual test, just like we did today, with biannual updates to the notification database in partnership with the Elbert County Communication Authority. This collaboration will ensure that our data remains current and our system remains prepared for any emergency. What makes this achievement even more significant is that this issue has been unaddressed since 2019, leaving a critical gap in our alert capabilities. Thanks to the leadership and the support of the Board of County Commissioners and our County Manager, we're able to address and resolve this issue in record time. This accomplishment represents a major advancement in our ability to protect residents of Elbert County, and I'm proud of the work that has been done to make this possible. Secondly, I'm excited to share that the Office of Emergency Management has successfully restarted the Elbert County Local Emergency Planning Committee, LAPC. This marks a critical step forward in ensuring that we have coordinated and community-driven approach to emergency preparedness, especially regarding hazardous materials and public safety. Our most recent LAPC meeting took place last month and focused on school safety in collaboration with Elbert County School Districts and the newly formed Executive Committee, which some of our members are here today. This meeting was a significant step toward reestablishing the LAPC's presence, which was previously part of Elbert County, and now our quarterly meetings in 2025 will provide an ongoing opportunity for public involvement in emergency planning. These meetings are open to the public. Please feel free to come and participate. The calendar will be released shortly prior to 2025. The LAPC serves a vital role not only in fostering public awareness for hazardous materials, but also in facilitating local responses to potential incidents. As mandated by state and federal law, the LAPC is responsible for ensuring that Elbert County is compliant with the Right to Know Act, which covers the management of hazardous materials in Tier 2 facilities in our area. Having an operational LAPC is critical in protecting the health and safety of our residents, and I want to sincerely thank the Board of County Commissioners and our County Manager for their support in getting this committee up and running again. It will be an invaluable resource as we move forward in enhancing our community's preparedness. And lastly, I'm pleased to announce a crucial project that will begin this month in collaboration with the Colorado Department of Transportation. That is correct, the Colorado Department of Transportation. We have successfully initiated the cleaning of 19 drainage ditches in and around the town of Simla. These drainage ditches have been a source of concern for some time, contributing to flood hazards that have impacted the town, particularly following the June 2023 flooding disaster. By addressing this issue, we are reducing the immediate risk of flooding, which will significantly improve the safety for the town's residents. This project is a direct result of the partnership between CDOT, the Office of Emergency Management, and the town of Simla. By coming together, we have not only addressed an urgent need, but also laid out groundwork for developing long-term solutions to mitigate future flood risks. I want to extend a special thanks to the leadership of Simla for meeting with us, voicing their concerns, and working collaboratively to provide much-needed assistance to their community. In conclusion, I am incredibly proud of the progress we have made on these critical issues. Each accomplishment represents a significant advancement in the scope of our emergency management activities, ensuring that we are better prepared, more resilient, and more capable of protecting the residents of Elbert County. As we look ahead, there is much more to come, and with continued leadership and collaboration, I am confident that we will keep building on this momentum to strengthen our emergency management capabilities. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to working together to make Elbert County even safer and more resilient in the future. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Actually, thank you, Aaron. Comments or questions?
I just got one sentence to make. Thank you for all the progress you've made since you took over that position.
I appreciate that, sir.
No, I echo that, and just to pass on that I sat on the ACA board, the Elbert County Communications Authority board, and at the last meeting, even though you weren't present, they were still talking about you, singing your praises on the Code Red effort. And so it's being noticed not just here, but across the county in different agencies, the effort you're put forth in there. So thank you to you and your staff on getting that going. The recognition is well deserved.
Thank you very much, sir.
And I just wanted to say, I'll echo that. Thank you for what you were doing. I know we're very complimentary of others, but you've given energy and life back to this office, and that's wonderful. We've appointed the core of the LEPC every year in January. But then it stayed fairly dormant, so thank you for kind of reactivating that and getting energy behind that. On the Code Red, roughly what percentage of folks would you say in the county are actually enrolled?
So this is one of our pride and joys, actually, of my office. When I first came here, we were at a retention rate of about 20 to 25%. We have now increased that to 50%. The national average is about 30%. So we are above the national average. Today, about 23,000 and some change individuals received the notification. The point of this specifically is to extract old data. So landlines that don't exist, or which those are probably more obsolete every day, but to validate these things so it gets the information and the alerts out faster. That's the purpose of doing the annual, make sure it works, but also to make sure the data that we're putting into the database is valid. So about 23,000, but it's an opt-in system, so we highly encourage every individual in our county, if you want to receive these alerts, please register. We work with school districts and fire districts to encourage these public information to get people registered, but at the end of the day, if you don't sign up, then you're not going to receive these alerts. We do have some more fail-safes we're working with iPause, but that is some more developments that I will provide updates as we get there.
No, hitting 50% is tremendous. I hope we can go higher, but obviously it's a big county. A lot of the emergencies are localized, whether it's a law enforcement shelter-in-place operation, wildfire, etc. That only affects one small part of the county. It's a great way to get localized, quick information out to folks. So thank you for that. And getting CDOT to work on anything other than transit, climate justice, but actually cleaning their own ditches is a wonderful start. So
It's been a 3-month project, kind of getting the coordination down. Patrick Chavez, who's the DHSEM, Department of Homeland Security Emergency Manager for CDOT, he's been crucial in getting this done. And working with the Public Works Director down in Simla, they're excited to get these flood risks reduced.
Yeah, if you could put together something, a letter from us to him and his superiors at CDOT, I think, like to highlight back to them, you know, the appreciation of actually getting into, you know, doing things like this that actually make us more resilient and prepared for future floods.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Anything else?
No, just thank you, appreciate you, and have a great week.
Thank you, Eric. Sir. Veteran Service Office. Awesome.
Good morning, County Commissioners. Matt Peters, Elbert County Veteran Services. I'd just like to update you on the accreditation process of our Veteran Service Office. We are now state certified, we're federally certified, and we are nationally certified. That means that we can work with any county throughout the United States, and that's the big three to get out of the way. The next process is to reach out to the different organizations like the American Legion, DAV, DFW, and get their accreditations as well. And I'll be pursuing that next week. And that's my update.
I'm ready. I appreciate that.
No, but thank you.
No, would like to get you on the calendar for our November meeting. Traditionally, that's been as close as we can get to Veterans Day to just kind of give a roll up of our veteran demographics and the services that have been provided over the previous year since your arrival. So, thank you. About the other staff. All right. Seeing none, we'll open now for citizen public comment. This is an opportunity for folks to bring up issues that are not going to be addressed on the agenda today. If there are questions asked, yes? Oh, thank you. We did delay one proclamation, so before we open public comment, we'll go back to that. But this is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I'd like to invite up Ms. Sabrina Wright. Give us a little more information on that. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for your time, Commissioners. I'm Sabrina, and I'm with the Crisis Center. The Crisis Center is a local domestic violence agency, and we serve Elbert County. So all of our services are free, confidential, and trauma-informed, and we're really grateful to you for proclaiming October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It really is a very serious issue that affects everyone in the community. The numbers say that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 9 men will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. However, those are just the numbers that we know about. Those are just the cases that get reported. At the Crisis Center, a lot of times people find us through the law enforcement. And they'll call our crisis line, but they're not ready to get help yet. But they save that number and they call us 6 months later, right? We're there for anyone on their path to freedom from violence and to be self-sufficient. We offer emergency services, shelter services. We also have a crisis line that's 24/7. That is 303-688-8484. I encourage everyone to know that number. You can call and just get information and advice as well. In addition to our emergency shelter services, we also provide community-based advocacy, legal advocacy, as well as therapy, all completely for free. There's no timeline on trauma, so besides emergency shelter services, there's no timeline on getting help. We also help people that are still in a situation. And the biggest thing that we wanted to make people aware of is domestic violence does not have to include physical violence for it to be abuse. And it does impact men as well. So financial abuse is a huge barrier, and that's why all our services are free. And we just want to raise awareness and let everybody know that on October 17th is Purple Thursday. So please wear purple. and show that people that are experiencing violence in our communities or that have experienced violence in our communities that we care and that we support them and that we're here to help lift them up. So thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you, and thanks for coming in today and explaining the services you provide. It's very important. Without objection, we do have a proclamation prepared that I will read. And it's a proclamation in recognition of the annual Domestic Violence Awareness Month and Purple Thursday, October 17th, 2024. And it reads, whereas October is known as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, an annual campaign that raises awareness about the impacts of intimate partner violence and its consequences, while signifying to survivors that they are not alone. And whereas 1 in 3 women and 1 in 9 men will experience intimate partner violence in their lifetime, the highest incidences occurring between the ages of 16 and 24, entering a cycle of violence that is hard to escape alone. And whereas 1 in 15 children are exposed to domestic violence, and 90% of these children witness the abuse. Children who witness domestic violence are at an increased risk for post-traumatic stress disorder, aggressive behavior, anxiety, impaired development, difficulty interacting with peers, academic problems, and have a higher incidence of substance abuse. And whereas domestic violence is a serious crime that affects people of all races, ages, and genders, education, and income levels, and whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity, and whereas everyone has the right to have healthy relationships, have access to trauma-informed services, and education that affirms that domestic violence is not acceptable, and whereas providing trauma-informed services to survivors is critical in eliminating domestic violence, and that obligation falls on the entire community and needs to be a local priority. Therefore, Elbert County, Colorado proclaims October 17th, 2024 as Purple Thursday in recognition of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Thank you. Mr. Hill, did you want to follow with this? No, Trace. Alrighty, that did complete the items we had under elected officials, staff reports, and department heads. Again, ma'am, thank you for coming in today. So we will now open for citizen public comment. As I said, this is an opportunity for folks to bring up issues that aren't necessarily or not actually scheduled to be discussed on the agenda today. If there's questions asked that we can answer, we'll try to do so at the end of the public period comment. If there's issues that need further investigation or further work, we may take them up at a future meeting. So with that, I'd ask folks to keep comments to about 3 minutes, provide your name and address for the record. With that, I'll open up. Do we have anybody that would like to make public comment? Mr. Hall.
Jill Duvall, 40753 County Road, Colorado. Elizabeth. Prior to your discussion and approval of the county managers and county attorneys' contracts, which were approved and backdated to April 1st, 2024, out of the public eye, I would like to address the issue per state statute of appropriations of county funds. Per CRS 291-1092A, quote, Any transfer, supplemental appropriation, or revised appropriation made pursuant to this section shall be made only by ordinance or resolution which complies with the notice provisions of section 29(1-106), end quote. Additionally, for CRS 29(1-11-110, quote, during the fiscal year, no officer, employee, or other spending agency shall expend or contract to expense any money or incur any liability or enter into any contract which by its terms involves the expenditures of money in excess of the amounts appropriated. Any contract, verbal or written, made in violation of this section shall be void, and no monies belonging to a local government shall be paid on such contract, end quote. For the 2024 approved county administration budget, $298,501 was appropriated for 2 full-time equivalent, meaning 2 full-time employees for salaries and benefits. This appropriation was based on the existing county manager contract and does not support the unlawfully passed contract signed June 13, 2024, with pay commencing to April 1st, 2024. For the 2024 approved county attorney budget, $187,187 was appropriated for salaries and benefits based on the existing county attorney contract and does not support the unlawfully passed contract signed April 18, 2024, with pay commencing April 1st, 2024. Therefore, I object to the expenditures for the county managers and the county attorney's contracts, which are contained in today's BOCC packet. These contracts were unlawfully executed in private, and they exceed the authorized appropriation for the 2024 budget. Additionally, for CRS 3025-103, I would like to leave you with this thought, quote, no contract shall be made by the Board of County Commissioners of any county, and no liability against the county shall be created by any officer of the county, whether the object of the expenditure has been ordered by the Board of County Commissioners or not, unless an appropriation shall have been previously made concerning such expense. Each member of the Board of County Commissioners and other officers of the county have 1 sentence left. Other officers of the county who undertake to create any liability against the county, except such as they are by statute required to do, shall be personally liable and shall be held for such indebtedness, end quote. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I would ask if comments on items that will be on the agenda could be held until that time, but this is time for public comment, so I'd invite anyone else up.
Good morning, Commissioners, attendees. My name is Robert Boland, 1891 Pontiac Parkway, Elizabeth, Colorado, 25-year resident of Elbert County. I came today with the intention of going through a script that I had prepared. I'm going to go off script. And I'd like to, if I may, approach the board and give you a copy of some information that I think is relevant to what I would like to talk about. But Commissioners, there's no secret in this county that some of us are in current dispute with some of the things that I think the previous speaker referred to. I want to talk about the issue of continuity. And I want to bring it out and let people know that I think we all need to reevaluate or to take a hard look at what that word means today in terms of our county here. We live in a system in this country of, we're a constitutional republic, we count on our people to be involved and to make decisions. And every 4 years in this county, there's an election. And that election is done by the people of this county. In a time when a lot of us are feeling that we don't have as much control, and the system today as our founders originally intended us to have, the things that we hang on to are, number one, public comment, like you're allowing us now to have, and that we have a right to do, but also to respect and allow the people of the county to evaluate the direction and the policies and the procedures that will take us forward. When that 4-year period comes up, we thank those who served, or the 8-year period, whatever it may be. We thank those people for their service. It's a tough job. It's not easy. I know it, you know it, we all know it. And we expect that the people, when they elect their next county commissioners or their officials, that they are doing so with the knowledge and the intent that their values and their principles will be adhered to, and even the goals and the direction of the county. I would just like to ask this board today, we have 2 new commissioners coming into office on January 8th of this next coming year, duly elected by fair amount of voters and majority of the voters. I think the message is clear. They expect and want those people to have the same opportunity to begin to direct the leadership of this county for the next 4 years that you all had and had again. And I would just ask you to consider that not to encumber them with anything that
Commissioners, 3 minutes.
includes this. So please, work with the incoming commissioners and let's put this to rest. Let's stop it, let's hold it, let's freeze it. And if you have to make a decision on the item that's on the agenda today, if you have to do that, I understand. But amend it and make it so that it expires, those conflicts expire in January of this year, so that the new county commissioners have the same respect and opportunity to lead this county as you all have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any other public comment? Sir?
Trust in the Lord with all your heart. He'll direct your path. I'm Trace Farthing, 23928 Broadway in Elbert. On the heels of domestic violence awareness, there was a film that was shown several weeks ago by the Colorado Department of Agriculture. It's called Legacy. And it's dealing with an issue that I think many of you are aware, but you may not be aware of how severe it is. The suicide rate among people in agriculture, particularly farmers and ranchers, is top 3 in the nation. And the reason it seems to go unnoticed is that only 1% of our population in this country are involved in producing goods in agriculture, ranching, farming, things we eat. And yet, we are still the world's #1 producer and exporter of goods. I say exporter. China and India are actually ahead of us in the amount of production, but we still export more than anyone else in the nation, or in the world rather. A week from tomorrow night at our church building there in Elbert, we're going to provide to anyone who would like to come and experience it what they call a COMET training, changing our mental and emotional trajectory. It's aimed at helping us to identify the stressors and the warning signs that people may exhibit, and some of the stresses, and dealing with the stresses we may feel in our rural communities, and that frankly are, the unwritten rule that we don't talk about them. It's not talked about, and it's a taboo, and we need to get past the idea that you're weird if you have problems. You're weird if you don't. And, but I'd like to make that just as a public service announcement and make that open to everyone. It's provided by the U.S. Colorado Department of Agriculture. Colorado is within the top 5 states in need of people with who need help in mental, emotional issues. The last figure I saw last year was 1 in 4 people in our state are in some type of need of mental or emotional help. medically speaking, and not getting it. So I think this is something that, that we should be aware of and not run away from. How much time do I have left?
7 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor.
Yeah, was going to be at.
That was the next question. about
I'm
time.
sorry. I believe it's at 6:30. And what's tomorrow's date? I mean, a week from tomorrow's date. 17. Yeah, 17. I'm a preacher, not a calendar guy. But there's more information available at the Elbert Christian Church website.
Thank you for sharing that. It is an important topic. Do we have any other public comments? Mr. Gray? What? I wonder, will you guess?
Yeah, we're right there. Good morning, Commissioners. Don Gray, 16,000 Highway 86. It's the standard question. That was every 2 weeks. We're going to do it for 2 years. Have we heard anything on the Power Pathway project from next fall? They keep giving us dates, and that date keeps going away. And we still haven't heard. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Interesting.
I have an update on that from Excel.
Okay, could you come up to the mic, because that's, hear from Excel through emergency management.
Well, they're one of our critical infrastructure partners. Aaron Bourne of our emergency management. They're one of our critical infrastructure partners. So I've been curious because I've been in a couple of these and I've heard this gentleman speak about it before, so I've inquired about it. They are in the process of finishing their initial surveys, and they will be submitting an application to the county for approval. So it will be happening. Timeline is dependent on them. They're a private organization, but they are planning on submitting an actual application.
If there's no more public comment, we'll close public comment at this time. Thank you for that update, Aaron. Obviously, we had been told that they would make application prior to the end of September of 2024. That calendar date has passed. I have no doubt they do intend to make application at some point, but they've not reached out or indicated or scheduled any time to sit down with their submission. So at this point, again, I believe we're just waiting on their submission. Again, the process beyond that is once their application is submitted, staff has 28 days to review, return any comments regarding completeness and additional information that may be needed. It gets passed back to the applicant. That could be an iterative process. There's no timelines on their side on how quickly they need to get back. Once that is all worked through and there is actually a final application that has been deemed complete for staff, then begins the 90-day clock for referrals, presentation before planning commission, and a final decision by the county or county commissioners. So we're somewhere between now and much more than 90 days from now before anything will be complete. Again, Pastor Farthing, thank you very much. Pardon, but oh, there it is. Okay, all right. Disappeared behind someone. Thank you very much for that. The other comments, we are going to be addressing contracts later on the agenda, so we'll respond as appropriate then. All right. So moving on, we have one discussion item today. That is kind of an update on where we're at with the contracting to replace our Dominion equipment with Clearview voting equipment. So my understanding is there's just some minor language issues to work through on non-appropriation clauses.
Yeah, that's correct. Standard process for our contracts is to have non-appropriations clause. Just in the process of getting those inserted. I was not able to make contact last week, so I was out a couple of days last week with Clearview, but that will be at the top of my list for the next 2 weeks. I fully intend that we'll have a contract ready for approval at the next meeting.
Thank you. No, appreciate that. I just want to get that in place so we can have new equipment in early in the new year. All right, moving on to action items. First item we have is consideration of our special meeting minutes from September 30th, 2024. I accept the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the September 30th, 2024 special meetings minutes as presented and dispense with the reading of those minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the September 30th special meeting and dispense with the reading. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Secondly, we had another special meeting on October 1st. I would accept the motion.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the minutes from the special meeting October 1st, 2024, and dispense with the reading of those minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes for the special meeting held on October 1st and dispense with the reading. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have a public hearing for a special event liquor permit for the Elbert County Sheriff's Foundation for their Back to the Badge dinner. Amanda, that's an open public hearing first. Yes, we do.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we open the public hearing for the special event liquor permit for the Elbert County Sheriff's Office.
Second.
Or Foundation, I should say.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to open public hearing on this item. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. We're in public hearing now. Amanda.
Good morning. We received a application for a special event permit from the Elbert County Sheriff's Foundation for their Back to Back event, which will be held on October 19th from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Musser Arena. This is an annual event, and no changes have been noted, and staff recommends approval of the special event permit. And the Sheriff's Office is here if you have questions.
Actually, I do. Just who's providing, is it EBC? Okay, so Elbert County Breweries providing beer and wine, no liquor?
Correct.
Okay. I know it's a big event, hard to keep track of people. They do a good job at EBC. But I do ask to just keep an eye out for potential overserving. Last year I did follow, or came upon a neighbor that lives not far from me that had left quite a ways ahead of me. They drove very slowly. There was a little concern. They did pull over, offered to drive them the rest of the way. They weren't amenable to that, but we did follow them home. They got home safely. I couldn't tell you whether there was more drinking after they left the event. Just ask that we keep a careful eye on that because it is a wonderful event for the community. I hate to see it on.
We asked for more employees for EBC to be present to help with it.
Okay, thank you. So just for the record, the sheriff had responded, they asked for additional employees to keep track of it. So as it is a public hearing, I will ask if there's any public comment on this item. Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment. And I would request a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the special event liquor permit for the Elbert County Sheriff's Foundation.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the special event liquor permit for the Elbert County Sheriff's Foundation. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. The permit is approved. I would ask for a motion to close public hearing on this item.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we close the public hearing on the special event liquor permit application by the Elbert County Sheriff's Foundation.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to close public hearing on this item. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. That item is closed. Next item we have up is approving the Spring Valley Metro District, District 1 roads for full acceptance. Monty?
Good morning, Commissioners. Monty Atkins, Elbert County Public Works Director. Yes, I am here on the action item topic of of approving roads improved and or built by Spring Valley Metro District 1 to include the improvement of County Road 13 from the end of asphalt north of 166 up to County Road 174, and then also the new road of 13 from 13 at that point 174 up to County Road 178. Also, the improvements that were done on County Road 174 north of Tesco Brothers and filings of Spring Valley between 13 and County Road 21. And then also the new road of County Road 178 that is between County Road 13 and Elbert Road. This has been kind of a long process. We've kept a very close eye on this road over the past several years. The road has performed extremely well, all of them for that matter. We have had a few punch list items over the course of time. The developer has taken care of all those punch list items to include the final punch list that was just performed a few months ago. Everything has been addressed and mitigated, taken care of. This road in particular, 13 and 178, has really approximately 1/3 of the traffic off of City Hills County Road 166. So that has been a big help for us and for the county, in my opinion, especially directly there in front of the elementary school. So I am requesting approval for those roads. Those roads, upon approval, will be put into our inventory in Public Works and maintained fully by us and Snowplow. Also, they will be put on the HUD report for additional funds submitted to the county by the federal government. Do you have any questions?
If I heard you right, you recommended the approval?
Yes, sir, please.
Appreciate you tracking this. It's been lengthy. I know a few changes along the way, but, again, 7.2 miles of pavement to the county at the developer's expenses, and taking all that traffic off of City Hills will certainly make the repaving on City Hills last that much longer as well.
Yes,
yes. Again, thank you to you and your team for keeping us throughout to the end. With that, I would ask if there's any public comment on this. And seeing none, I would accept the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 24-TBD, a resolution approving Spring Valley Metropolitan District Number 1 improvements in County Road 13, County Road 174, County Road 178, Spring Valley offsite roads for full county road maintenance.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve East Metro District 1 roads for Spring Valley for full acceptance. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Roads are accepted. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Mr. Marks, would you join us at the side table? Our last action item for today is consideration of executive contracts or letters of engagement for the county manager and the county attorney. And while it may feel like we've done this before, we did, on consultation with Mr. Marks, determine that the best and most proper way was to proceed as we will today by noticing them specifically on the agenda, publishing the matter in our board packet, and having a good full discussion and opportunity again for public comment before any final consideration. So I would like to begin by just kind of giving a little bit of background on where we're at in the terms of compensation and how we have looked at these contracts for the 2 senior members of our staff over time. For the last 2 years, the county's really focused on bringing pay up to the market rate for all our employees. One, so we're competitive in filling vacancies, and 2, so we can retain quality personnel. This shortfall in pay really came to light specifically within the sheriff's office. And it's always been difficult to recruit and retain deputies in the county. It's been a historic fact. We've generally been a kind of a proving ground for new folks, new deputies hitting the road, getting some experience, and then moving on to higher paid departments. In the past, that pay was driven by, it was what we could afford as a county. We certainly valued our employees higher than we could pay over the years, and I know this was a struggle that previous boards had seen as well. Previous sheriffs had worked very hard as well. Prior to the 2-year period, we had done some improvements. There was one point we gave a $10,000 bump to each deputy. That kind of stopped the bleeding, but it wasn't bringing any folks in. So, under our direction, the county manager and HR department started doing market surveys, market comparisons of our direct competitors, the folks that are close enough for our employees to shop elsewhere for an employer. Again, we began with the deputies. I believe we take a look over the last 2 years, just about every deputy has received a 20 to 30% pay increase. Once we got deputies, and last year it did take us, in order to have the money to do so, we froze 4 positions and used the monies allocated to those 4 to do pay improvements for the rest, and then we budgeted those higher pay levels in this year's budget. But we moved on once we had corrected that market discrepancy onto the other pieces of the county. Human Services took a bit of time because their pay is partially shared with the state, so raising their pay took some time and some approvals from the state level as well. Public Health, Road and Bridge, our CDS folks, others that work in the building and HR and finance were brought up to a market rate. The final 2 employees that we chose to address and held until we could make sure that we could take care of everybody else was our county manager and our county attorney. So they did receive healthy raises, and I know that raised some eyebrows, mostly because those are the 2 positions that are actually extremely public in nature. They work directly for us, so a lot of what they do is also very public and on our side. But as we looked at the contracts, there's a few things we needed to look at. One was the actual structure of the contract, wage parity, the value they provide to the organization, and our ability to afford such raises. Mr. Rowland had brought up continuity in a request that we set up contracts to end essentially the day 2 new commissioners arrive. And now, continuity of policy is not something that we're looking to enforce or trying to retain any control of the future past January 8th, that we might be swearing today. But what we are concerned about is continuity of business operations. And those 2 positions are pretty much the operational arm of the county commission. So our policies carried out by those 2 gentlemen. So We have traditionally pushed those contracts beyond a year every year. They are strategic level positions. At any time, we're usually auditing our previous year. We're in a budget year that's being executed and overseen by the county manager, and we're planning for the next budget year beyond. We're looking at statutes that come into effect at a future date. We're looking at potential changes in revenue streams that aren't going to be effective for many, many years to come. So just as we came in with the county manager in place with a contract that extended beyond the time that Grant and I took office, we also had a county attorney in place who had a contract that extended beyond the time we took office. We believe this is the right thing to do, to provide the ability to have continuity and experience in place to support new commissioners. At the end of the contract period, as it's currently defined, we also potentially see a rotation or a change in 7 of the 9 elected officials in the county. So having the opportunity to have these 2 key senior leaders in the county available if there is such a large turnover is very important for us. Within the contracts, there are definitions for terminating the contract with and without cause. Again, these 2 men are employees, not political appointees. They've been very good employees. Have shown their value tremendously. If they keep doing their job well, there's no reason to consider terminating. If they're not doing their job well, they should be terminated. And that would happen at no cost to the county. But to terminate good people just for the sake of change should come with some protection for them. So that is in there. Again, in terms of wage parity, market salaries were reviewed by HR. The range that was suggested at the current market was between 200 and 240, 240,000 for the 2 positions. There were some outliers that could have pushed that as high as 280. Those were removed. Also have to be looking at internal parity. At the time of these changes, the 2 gentlemen were actually the 2nd and 3rd highest paid in the county. So we have to look at the scope of their responsibilities as opposed to others that may be in the county. Current total compensation, for instance, for the undersheriff, one portion of one elected office is about $184,000 in pay and benefits. Other comparable positions in the area, the town manager of Elizabeth makes nearly $195 for a town of about 1.5 square miles with about 40 employees. We're looking at our county attorney, who actually acts generally as our general counsel for the county. The average associate general counsel in the Denver metro area is about $280,000. The range is typically from 248 to 317 according to other reports. Median earnings for a full general counsel, again, this is independent of size of the company they serve, is $370K. When we look at adjacent counties, there's got to be some kind of apples to apples comparison. Most of the large counties around us pay their county managers a higher amount, and that's clear. They're bigger organizations. The actual scope of management for the county manager in terms of direct reports is about the same. But each of those county managers also have a deputy that's making well over $200,000. So covering that scope of work in the adjacent counties is in some places well over 400, pushing $500,000. In terms of value to the organization, they both provided excellent service. Now, the county manager, as I said, had led the process of bringing everybody up to market rate. We filled a tremendous number of shortfalls in the county. We've netting about 23 employees and bringing us relatively full. We're in a range now of general average comings and goings that any company sees. But some of the initiatives that he instituted upon arrival was really looking hard at what we insource, what we outsource. We had outsourced our IT management, and over time that had become tremendously expensive. During my time in office, I had seen IT increase from about an $800,000 a year cost just within that department to about 1.6. 1.6 was what was budgeted for this year, and under the previous outsourced contract, individual departments were then also charged for things like unboxing fees, $1,000 fees for reviewing a telephone problem. It was just starting to get very ridiculous. Within a very short period of time, and in concert with the county attorney and examination of the contract we had, which showed some non-performance, we were able to essentially end the contract with the outsourced agency and build an in-house team. That in-house team saved us $500,000 this year, and that $500,000 savings is going to be perpetual going forward. Our county manager is more than earned his pay, and that's just one example. County attorney, in terms of risk avoidance, is a little hard to calculate. What claims may have been avoided, what issues may have been avoided because we have a good person looking at risk management every day within the county. And finally, our ability to afford within our current general fund appropriation. I appreciate the comments that were made earlier. Every time we meet in public is an opportunity to do a little bit of education. Mr. Rowland would be well aware that the county does not appropriate to the department level, it doesn't appropriate to the line item level, but it appropriates to the fund level. So the county attorney, the county manager, paragraphs, departments are all part of the larger general fund, or the 10 fund, as we call it in the county. That is the appropriation that is made. Within departments, department heads can move monies between lines. Within the appropriation, the county manager is empowered to move monies around. If we look like we're going to exceed an appropriation, then public discussion, public hearing, and reappropriation or supplementals are made. But currently, if we look at our variance reports for the end of September, 2/3 of the way through the year, based on what was appropriated and based on the salaries that we had considered, we're still looking at ending the year about $180,000 underspent for that appropriation. So the amount that was discussed and granted earlier in the year was definitely within the appropriated amounts. We'll continue to track that. Our revenues, and we'll likely do some reprogramming before the end of the year, according to our finance director this morning. We had budgeted for about $60 million in revenue. We're looking at closing out the year on almost $20 million in revenue. So we do need to recognize that, and in places where the net spending has changed, there may be some reappropriation to do. Any salaries that are set by contract today will definitely be budgeted into the coming year, so there's no issues with that. But that's kind of my outline of where we sat on this.
No, but generally speaking, that everything you said is right. kind of looking at it as a chief executive of a commercial company, one of the things is that when you have goods employees, you have to pay them market price. And one of the things that we did when Chris and I were first elected, the county was within 2 inches of being bankrupt. And we instituted a good budgetary policy. And one of the things is, be it the current county manager and the previous one too, the then county commissioner said, we've got to see what we can do to have a good functional budget that includes the retention of quality employees. And one of the things that, since Sean joined us, we went through each and every department to determine how they were compensated with respect to what they provide the county. And we did it department by department, and the last department we got to was the 2 senior managers. But one of the things is just as a comment, for a period of time, and I'm going to use the sheriff's people here as an example, since Chris and I got elected, the sheriff's deputy salaries has increased over 80% their salaries. And for a period of time, the undersheriff was the highest paid employee in the county. But where I'm going is that all of this stuff was sequential. We evaluated each and every department and worked to get them into the market. And when it comes time to approve the last salary increases, one of the things I asked is how does that reflect the budget? And as of the end of September, we still have about $1.3 million less than budgeted expenses. But if you look for the fourth quarter, which you have to do, there's always some year-end expenditures and things like that. And based on the numbers that we were presented today and yesterday, it looks like at the end of the year we'll be about $800,000 under expended. So that well fits in to the appropriation issue. That's all I got.
Yeah, just echo what my fellow commissioners have said and add a couple comments onto there. Particularly, Commissioner Richardson talked about business operations and that these 2 individuals carry out the policies of the board. If a new board comes up with different direction and different policies, it would be the expectation, and I believe that these 2 individuals would follow through with the new expectations of the new board. And if not, there's remedies for that in the contract. And so this in no respect takes away any of the policy-making decisions by the board. Just to keep someone in place who has experience and relationship with different departments to keep things moving in the right direction, particularly if the new board wants to go a different direction with different policies. And one of the things I really looked at is the value added to the organization and how it's important to have good, appropriately compensated individuals in these positions. We look at some of the upgrades. We talked a little bit about the IT upgrade. That was a constant frustration for myself when I was as a clerk and recorder. And now to see the upgrade that's been taking place there by bringing this in-house has been a tremendous benefit to the different departments, but it's also increased services and availability and working with the public. And we've seen those same increases in better services to the county citizens in our community economic development area, our Office of Emergency Management, which we have a report today, our facilities, our road and bridge. So many of these departments have been upgraded under our county manager's leadership, and we want to continue that going. As far as with the county attorney, seeing firsthand in this seat, having a county attorney available to us is very valuable in risk avoidance. And to be able to walk down the hall or call in with a question and have it answered immediately creates more efficiency within the county, and being able to move quicker on items instead of waiting to contact an outside attorney. As we saw by the salary studies there, the amount of what we're really competing against in the Denver metro area is far exceeds what our county attorney's salary is, and so we're getting value there. And so those are my comments on those contracts.
Yeah, if there's any public comment on this time,
Dana Hayes, 24421 Main Street, Elbert, in the town of. What I'd like to bring up is that when these gentlemen were hired, they accepted their salary. We have an attorney who's been here like 8-ish years, and yeah, he should be getting raises, but not 75%, not 100%. I don't know how you guys figure it out financially, but in the real world, 8% is huge for a lot of people. Our county manager's been here less than 2 years. This is exorbitant misappropriation of funds. And I go back to, they accepted their salary at the time. The tax base for the places that you are referring to are a lot larger than what we have here. I don't really want my taxes going up to pay for his salary. And it's exorbitant. If you actually do a little investigation, these salaries are way above Denver. Doesn't take much investigation to go on your computer and find out what these positions hold financially. Also, I believe the benefits that they have been receiving are exorbitant, and most people don't get their medical taken care of every month. They don't get a vehicle to drive from our county to another county because they live in another county. There are people on I-25 every day commuting in their own vehicles. They don't get stipends for that. These are the questions or the frustrations that we have. You guys need to do a little bit more due diligence. And once this is put in place, there is no going back for the new board. They can't go backwards. They can't subtract that. And also, I really feel like people that are county positions should be living in our county. And living in our county, that is a huge human value to them. If they want to work in Elbert, then they should understand where they're working and enjoy the place that we have.
Thank you.
Commissioners, with all due respect, I want to say that I do appreciate your explanation of your rationale for having done what you did. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. The issue is not what you did or why you did it. It is how you did it. You did not follow the state statutes for open meeting laws. And I think the path that we've been on since the town hall meeting where the slideshow showed there was a state statute that said you could has been defunct and proven not to be correct. And it also was supported by the fact that you later ratified the same process that was supposedly legitimized by the state statute to begin with. So that would indicate that even you acknowledged that something had gone a little awry there. Then, now today, here we are doing the same thing again at the ratification and claim of being able to do it under state statute without using it in a public meeting. The issue is it was done in private property. And why we're in the position we're in now to define that legally and get an answer on that is just that. It's commendable that you wanted to raise everybody's salaries. I agree, in the time that I was in office, that was a problem. We have high turnover with teachers and the people in our county, and the sheriff's office has always been a training ground. There's no secret about that. It's been that way for a long time, and it hinders this county. I applaud your making that a priority when you did. But the fact that it was done without the state statute is pretty clear in the history and in previous cases that we can't do that. You can do it today. You're a city board, you did a proper notice today. If you'd done that last April, we wouldn't be here having this conversation. So I will just say this. The time between April 1st and today is not resolved. And it's going to have to be resolved. And I don't know if there's any more exit ramps on this road to where we're headed or not. But I would just say, let's stay focused on what the issue is. And again, I commend you for your attention to employees' welfare, benefits, and salaries as best we can serve this county. We appreciate that much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any other public comments at this time? Mr. Meyer.
Good morning. I stood in front of you a few months ago in the public forum you held in Elbert, and I told you I would hold you accountable. Your arrogance today, you can't even look at me, Dallas, can't give me the courtesy of engaging with me as I stand before you. You're too busy writing your notes. Grant's the only one of you three who has given the speaker the courtesy of looking them in the eye. That kind of arrogance is what's gotten you here today. The fact that in that meeting in Elbert, you said you hadn't done anything wrong, and then you went and ratified it, and now we're having the appropriate steps required by the open meetings law, which you violated in the first place, is an example of your inability to do the right thing. I stood in front of you and said I would hold you accountable. I'm part of that lawsuit that's holding you accountable. You guys failed to do the right thing, said you had done the right thing, and now are trying to cover your tracks by doing the right thing. What you're doing today does not cure from April to now. I'm still going to hold you accountable for that. The fact that our county manager gets $1,800 per diem and doesn't live in the county, and our deputies don't get that same per diem, is criminal. Remember who you work for. And I know two of you are on the way out. You don't have very long to straighten out what you've done. Once you're out, you will have no mechanism by which to right the wrongs that you've done. Dallas, you've got a couple more years. I will still hold you accountable once you leave office. You represented me and you failed to do your duty. I hope that's very clear.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? Sir.
Thank you, Chairman Richardson and the board. Todd Collins, I live on County Road 13 in Elizabeth. I have some questions and comments on the county attorney's contract, if we may address that. First, I would just like to know who physically drafted the contract.
We address questions at the end of the public comment period, sir.
Okay. You did address that, but we'll leave it at that, okay? So, one issue I have is with paragraph 9. Reasons the county may terminate. I see a lot of felony convictions, criminal offenses, violations of written policies, injuring the county, violations of criminal law. But as attorneys, Mr. Greer and I, and I forget your name.
Mr. Marks?
Mr. Marks, we're bound by a different set of rules, and that are the rules of professional responsibility. I would recommend adding a violation of the rules of professional responsibility, or otherwise known as ethics, to a list of reasons that the county attorney may be terminated. I don't know why that was overlooked, but apparently it was. All of you have stated and relied upon the IT department and continuity within the county. To me, it seemed like kind of a deflection of what we're actually all here about, and that's these contracts. You want continuity and experience, but yet, if either one of these gentlemen want to leave, they only have to give the county 1 month's notice. Okay, so can you hire another attorney, qualified attorney within 1 month? No, I know you can't. The other thing I have an issue with, and I think maybe as an attorney I see this, but others don't, there's an auto renewal clause in this contract, which means that if this goes away for the next 3 years, if he's here for the next 3 years, this contract auto renews without any public comment. I think that needs to be taken out. The public needs to address whether they want to rehire a county attorney, especially at these rates. And that's paragraph 13 where the auto renewal clause is. But I want to get back to what you gentlemen relied on. You reflected by going to referencing IT, bringing it in-house, and how much money you save. That's not the same for the county attorney. This county contracts out nearly every legal service. Contracts out the attorney for DHS, contracts out for litigation, contracts out for many things. He advises you, that's all he does, and you're giving him a rate that other attorneys who have to defend your case.
Commissioner, 3 minutes.
So I'll stop that, that's all I want to say.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other public comment at this point? Seeing none, we'll close public comment on this item and have additional discussion. In terms of who drafted these initial contracts, I would say if we go back prior to Commissioner Thayer and I, these extension contracts for engagement of service letters, I won't call them boilerplate, but they originally drafted prior to our arrival, very similar to the letters of engagement and contracts that the then county attorney and county manager had when we arrived 8 years ago. The final form of these were drafted and received from our HR department. I would like to address the auto renewal policy in terms of also some corrections that we noted as we were reviewing the contracts in the packet again. What we had stated several meetings ago, and our intent is to develop a very specific policy in terms of that kind of guides the process for executive contracts with the granting to new executives or extensions, and still intend to do so, but the determination to extend a contract, if we're talking extensions, would be done in a public meeting. Follow-on any negotiations would be worked in any executive session, and contracts brought back for public discussion and approval, as we were doing today. So that is still our intent, and I think that there should not be a quiet auto renewal happening in the background. That's never been the intent. But in each of the contracts, We did note some typos. Paragraph 13 in the attorney's contract and 15 in the county manager's. Though paragraph 1 of both is very specific that these contracts run through the first day of 2027 or 2 years hence the end of 26. There were some typos where December 27th, December of 27 was mentioned in several places, and those do need to be corrected.
Corrected to what?
That should be corrected to December 1st of 26 or December 31st of 26 is appropriate where they're going. Now, there's been a lot of statements about what was said, what wasn't said potentially at the town hall. Very specifically, I know what I said was, had we erred, this was our understanding, and we presented our understanding of the law and the process. And I did state that if we had erred, we would work to correct, we would do the right thing to correct that error. After review and consultation, we determined that that is the reason that we did the first ratification. We felt we had erred. We want to make it crystal clear that we were committed to do the right thing in the right way. After the filing of the lawsuit, our county attorney gratefully decided and informed us that he should not be the one to advise us on the matter, and we engaged Mr. Marks, who advised us that the best way to walk through this is to take this process through on a public agenda, have public discussion, make a public decision, and cure any error that had been made. None of us have ever claimed to be perfect. We have worked very hard, I think, at this table, and the two predecessors, Commissioner Schroeder, that have worked with me at this table to make the right decision based on the facts we have at the time a decision has to be made. And when we've erred, we've done our best to correct that. That's what the citizens deserve. We're very cognizant of who we work for. We work for 28,000 people in this county, and we do our best to serve them each day. To the comment, yes, the two gentlemen were discussing knew what terms they agreed to when they were hired by us. Certainly, there have been tremendous inflationary costs associated with employees everywhere in this nation over the last couple of years. Again, our commitment was not only to these two employees, but all employees that we bring up to market rate. When we were developing our budget for this year and discussions in the previous year, we had realized that part of the reason that we had gotten so far behind in salaries was actually built into our budgeting process. Essentially, we figured out what things we were doing, what they were going to cost in the next year, and then what was left over was generally all we had to offer to employees. So, during the preparation of the previous year's budget and leading up, and we'll be doing so this year, we decided we had to focus first on employees. And this isn't deflection, it's history. There's context to everything that's done at this table. 14 years ago, the county had to make the decision to cut hours by 10%, cut salaries by 10%, cut hours, which cut most people's wages by 10%, and cut workforce by 10%. Most of that was done through attrition, some retirements. And that was pretty much the status quo when Grant and I arrived 8 years ago. Kind of a skeleton of a county and many of the staffs. There were enough people and enough money to keep the lights on to respond to day-to-day issues that arose and respond to emergencies if need be. But we lacked the depth in most staff sections to actually do planning for the future. So we did things when it was an emergency. We had very little money, and when we spent it, we probably spent way too much because we were spending only because we absolutely had to at that time. Our commitment when we came in was to build a staff that was robust and professional enough to look deep and actually operate the county in the most efficient and effective way for our citizens. As elected officials do come and go. As I said in previous meetings, we view ourselves as trustees. This county is a moving train. It started moving 150 years ago and stepped down 8 years ago. The tracks ahead of us have been laid pretty well into the distance by our previous board. But we still had to maintain that train operated and then continue to lay tracks ahead and be prepared to pass off those responsibilities when our time came to leave. So that's been, to me, kind of our guiding focus on this. We don't view it as a power county. We're caretakers of the county that everybody here lives in. So I guess that's where I'm at on that. That was great.
No, the thing is that if we made a mistake in our process, then we need to fix it. And that's why we're having this meeting today. I don't doubt that we increase the salaries as is appropriate when you do a comparative study. But again, coming back to just kind of summarizing it, if we made a mistake in implementation, we need to repair it. And that's what we're doing today.
And with that, it was not any effort, there was no effort to hide what we do from citizens. We work very hard to increase transparency.
Can you speak up, please?
Sure. We worked very hard over the last, at least my term in office, to increase transparency, to broadcast, first record and post and then broadcast meetings, to publish not only agendas but the full board packets of things that we're considering ahead of time. Again, if we erred in process on this renewal, we erred for 8 years. This was not a departure from the practice that the county had been following. That process obviously or apparently needs to be tightened up. We're committed to doing so and establishing so in policy in a way that even the absolute strictest view of open meeting laws is addressed. We heard that very loud and clear. We heard the expectations of our citizens, and we will act, whether the new board chooses as a majority to follow that policy would be up to them. Because again, we don't have any way to bind and would not bind future boards. I do ask again, as folks consider this, that there's a gentleman here who's served the county well, honorably, faithfully, and with great energy and passion for 12 years, is still going to be a commissioner who understands why we are doing what we're doing today and why many of the things that have been done over the last 8 years were done, why many of the things that have been done over the last 12 years were done, going back to board members that are in the room now. There's some complexity to operating a county, to serving in this position. What we're looking at right now, we're coming up on the end of the year. This contract would keep our 2 senior employees in place for the following 2. In the next 2 years, about 6 months into the coming year, we'll start preparing a budget for the 2026 year. I can tell you personally, there is a learning curve no matter what you believe, you think, you know when you come into this office. You come into office operating under the budget that was set by your predecessors. You have an opportunity in that first year to set the budget for the following year. In that following year, you actually see the results of your thought and your input to that budget. It's really year 3 when you're talking budgetary matters before you've gone through an entire cycle as a commissioner. That you've set a budget, you've lived under the budget you've set, you've actually gotten an audit of the budget that you operated the year prior. Day 1 is the beginning of climbing a ladder that takes a long time to climb. And I can tell you 8 years later, there's still things that surprise you, and you still learn things. And you react to what you learn, and you try to make it, do things right as you go forward. So that's where I'm at. If there's anything else. Okay. And there were some corrections that need to be made in terms of dates, but I would accept the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the consideration of the executive contracts, letters of engagement, county manager and county attorney, with the dates that you recommended be included, be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and I did. Mr. Marks, is there anything you'd like to add to what you heard today?
Not really. I would make one comment. There was a suggestion about adding a term to the county attorney contract for ethical violations, but I'll make 2 points as to that. I don't think it's necessary. And it's cumbersome because our ethical rules regulate a whole swath of conduct. Some ethical rules are more significant than others, and it would add a level of complexity that really isn't needed for you. In the event that there was something unethical done by an attorney under your direction, you still have the ability to terminate the contract. An attorney effectively works at the will of his client anyways. And so, our courts have said that contracts which restrain that ability really are no effect. So you always have the right, if something came up that was serious enough on an ethical level, to terminate the relationship. So I think you don't need to do anything else.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. I had meant to address it because I highlighted it under the final issue F was failure to improve a performance deficiency and or a failure to perform duty satisfactorily. And I think that catch-all covers a broad array of potential issues. Appreciate your input, sir. So with that, we have a motion and a second on the table. I would ask for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So with the adjustments to the dates in paragraphs 13 of Mr. Gurr's contract and number 15 in Mr. Fletcher's to reflect the actual term of through January 1st, 2027. Motion carries. Thank you. So that concludes our action items for today. We do have board planning. At our next meeting, our draft budget will have been prepared and published, but would like to have a quick review publicly of the major pieces of that budget. And then that meeting will also discuss setting the hearing for the 2025 public budget hearings. Hopefully we will have the clear ballot contract available for us to approve as well. And then minutes of this meeting, and I believe one past meeting we still need to see minutes on. So with that, we have 2 land use items this afternoon. One is the Morstead PUD rezoning, the other associated or adjacent to that community is Hillside Estates rezone. Those will be held at 1 p.m. at this location. It is 11:04 and we're in recess. Thank you.